I'm Alicia.
And I'm Meredith.
And this is One Season Wonders, the show where Meredith and I find a TV show that only has one season and we talk about it. And you're listening to The Princes of Malibu.
Yeah.
It's episode 3. We've made it this far. I think there's only 6 episodes, right?
Yes, it's a short and sweet one.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. This show's so bad. Anyway.
I die every time. I stare at it and I'm like, what?
No, my face is like always just like utter confusion and disgust when I watch it.
It just reminds me how far we've come with reality TV.
Oh, yes. The 2000s were like a crazy time. Okay, before we get into it though, check us out on the NM Podcast Network. We have this podcast, we have It's Not the Pasta, a Vanderpump Rules podcast, and we have Summer is Fun, a Summer House podcast. Please be sure to rate, review, subscribe. I did confirm. We only have 3 ratings, so I'm assuming it's you, me, and someone else that was like really kind.
I don't even think I've rated this, so I'll go rate it so we can have 4.
Oh my God.
And you guys listening should too.
Honestly, it's a good podcast. It's short, sweet. It's not too serious.
It takes nothing from you. It requires nothing from you.
We discuss nothing serious. And someone messaged me because I posted on the Instagram, which is at Vanderpasta. I posted that we were recording these and someone was like, where do I watch? And I was like, YouTube. So I'm going to post tonight and be like, yes, be sure to watch it on YouTube. We're almost done.
It's in the body of every, of our episodes is the link to each episode. So if you're wondering, you don't have to Google, just like download the episode and then you'll find the link for YouTube.
Amazing. Also join our patreon.com/vanderpasta. Let me tell you what you can get. For $1 a month, you get access to any episodes that we record early, which includes this one, and like will be a bunch of other ones soon. Every podcast we record early, or we try to, unless it's a live season. So it's all going to be on the Patreon. And you get access to our pre-shows that we do with our other 2 podcasts. Not yet this one, but if this one gets a strong enough listening, we might do pre-shows.
TBD.
So if you actually like listening to our nonsense, listen to this show so we do more pre-shows. For $2 a month, you get access to everything I just mentioned. Plus, you get access to our after shows that we do when we go back and watch live seasons of Vanderpump Rules and Summer House. And then also we'll say your name on the podcast. So thank you to Chris, Danae, Dustin, Jackie, Casey, Kimberly, Cameron, Tiffany, Tracy, Gina, Jennifer, Kirsten, Kelsey, Mariah, and Sarah.
Woohoo!
Thank you guys for listening. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do all of our shows. We'd probably get rid of the other 2 and just do this one because it makes us happy. And then for $5 a month, you get access to everything I just mentioned. Plus, for live seasons that we go back and we watch, you get to give us your thoughts, opinions, questions, whatever you want. And then if this show takes off ever, we will tie a $5.
It has taken off for us enough.
Yeah. But if it takes off more and people like want to get involved, we'll get them involved in this show as well.
Yes. Honestly, we just had to do this one so quickly. We couldn't get somebody involved, but
there's more to come.
There is plenty more. And you know what? You can pick the season, in my opinion. You can join as many episodes as you want. Whatever involvement you want, you can have if you're a $5 patron.
And then we pick a patron of the episode, which I don't remember what I did last time.
Last time we said if somebody, for people who comment or get involved in this, you get to be the patron of the episode, and I'm picking it because it's Kiss My Grits. Chris My Grits. God, I knew I was about to screw it up. But Kristen commented and said, fine, you win. I'll listen to another one of your podcasts. So 3 for 3.
Oh my God. Yeah, Meredith is in charge of patron of the episode for this because she does the Instagram more than I do. But that's amazing. Keep listening to us.
Yep. So
guys, we're like not that bad because we got 2 really good reviews for our other podcasts. So this one could get a good review too. You just have to write it.
Here's the thing. We're just requiring of people to watch somewhat shitty TV shows, but I promise it pays off Or to be honest, you don't even have to watch the show. We cover it in such detail because there's truly nothing going on.
Oh, like people aren't watching shitty TV shows already.
No,
Just
they
watch
are.
these.
But it's like if you heard like, oh, we're doing obviously Princess of Malibu, people are like, where the hell do I find that?
YouTube.
So now I'm gonna start adding the link so people do know.
That's smart.
I'm
Meredith's
your source.
the best, literally. Okay.
Let's dive
Meredith,
in. Ready?
let's do it.
All right. Previously on Princess of Malibu, Brody wants to play the drums, but he kind of needs a backup for like a real job. So David took him to his offices. Let's just say that did not go well. The boys had other ideas to make money, and that included a movie night in their massive yard. David heard all this honking, came outside and found them, stomped his way downstairs and started yelling at them.
They were watching that unnamed Martin Lawrence movie that I don't care to look up.
God. Yeah, so that's the plan. David's fed up. The boys are trying to make money in insane ways, and here we are.
Because they owe David rent and they have no money to pay rent.
Exactly.
Right.
So we're back at I never know what to call it, the Foster Jenner Thompson household, but we're back at home. Everyone's, who works at in this household is doing their jobs wonderfully. We see a giant bowl of like peaches. And David and Linda are gonna go play tennis. So they take their golf cart wherever the tennis courts are on this property. But on the way, they see all this trash still left over from the movie night.
The yard is destroyed. David, I don't think he's actually like this, but he never just gets a little mad. He just goes straight to furious.
Yes.
To like a heart attack level.
I mean, I appreciate him showing up and giving us a character because you're right. He gives us level 10 angry. He kind of like walks around and is like, oh, my popcorn machine, my chair. And I'm like,
that's the chair from my studio. Linda's got it, David. Linda's fucking got it.
Oh, man. But David's fed up. So he calls a meeting of all the house employees. We're on like some balcony and everybody's like lined up. And David's like, we're done. We're done with the boys. You know what? No laundry. You can do my laundry though. No laundry for them. My laundry only. Food. No food for them. Food for me. He like goes through the checklist of everything. Literally everything. No checks. We are not writing checks for the boys anymore.
No. But Walter, the groundskeeper, no longer has to pick up after him. So shout out my guy, Walter.
Yep. And he tells the other employees that Mr. Foster has lost his mind. He's just yelling.
Oh my God. Do they have a translator? Because David was like, he told Walter and I didn't get the other guy's name.
I did not get anybody's names. They
were two Spanish men or Hispanic men.
Yeah.
And then he turns to this third Hispanic man and was like, tell them. And this guy, like, I was like, do we have a translator? Walter seems to speak
I don't
English.
even know. All I'm going to say is this episode especially does not age well in the slightest. And this
horrible.
Is key moment number one.
Oh, horrible.
But again, some of this, I'm just like, what are we just playing this up for dramatic effect? Like calling David crazy in Spanish.
Yeah,
like, what are we doing here?
These people would never in their right mind say this about a boss in front of him,
no,
whether it be in a different language or not.
Yeah.
Plus, why the translator? I was like, who's this man?
Well, yeah, what was the point?
So weird.
But we get back to David's normal life. He grabs some lunch, eating at the table, and Brody has finally woken up for the day right around noon. Is looking for a sandwich.
His tuna sandwich. Did Spencer eat my tuna sandwich?
And the chef is like, no.
Her name's Faria.
She's like, no. But doesn't say anything, and Brody's like, no. So
where's my fucking sandwich, Faria?
And she's like, Mr. Foster said I can't make you anything.
So funny.
I mean, this is like so uncomfortable. This is what a terrible position to be in as an employee.
Because Brody, like, no offense, but Brody has grown up in a very lavish lifestyle.
Yeah.
And this was the 2000s when no one respected like workers of any kind. We still need to work on this, but like literally he's about to fucking yell at this poor Hispanic lady
like
for
she's
not
the
making
one,
his tuna sandwich.
she's the one who needs to put the boundaries in place. I'm annoyed that David like wouldn't tell them himself.
Yeah, he's just watching while he's eating his lunch.
Yeah, every employee like Brody faces during the day, they're the one who has to break the news.
Yeah. And
how uncomfortable.
Like, thank God Brody's like, I mean, at least on camera, not the person to yell at these workers.
Yeah.
But that made me so nervous. Like, I personally am very uncomfortable people waiting on me because I've never had it. Like, even my mom hires a cleaning lady once a month.
Me
she
comes,
the
most uncomfortable.
I'm like, hi, how are you? Do you need anything? Oh, water or so? Like, can I help you?
Yeah, I'm like,
do you want me to vacuum?
I was going to say, do you want me to take the vacuum? Like, I can't be there because it makes me uncomfortable that I can't imagine being on the opposite side and having to be like, sorry, Mr. Jenner, I can't make you a tuna fish sandwich because the person who pays me says I can't.
Do you think Brody would know how to make a tuna fish sandwich if he had to, if his life depended on it?
No, because
he had to go to the grocery store and pick out what he needed. Do you think he could do it? And then come back and make it?
But it wouldn't be as good. I'm sure he could make something, but I don't think he. But I don't even know how to make a tuna fish sandwich, but I don't like tuna fish. It really grosses me out.
I love tuna, but I'm a big believer that any food I don't make myself just tastes better automatically. So I get this, but
100%.
I could figure out a tuna fish sandwich if I had to.
Yes, I think he could figure out a lot too, because later in the episode they talk about how like mac and cheese, it's easy to make. So I think he like knows how to cook.
So food. Horrible. We'll just keep going. This episode needs to end.
Well, obviously this is awkward. Brody talks to David then about it a little bit, and Dave basically says, well, your rent only pays for the facility, not the staff.
I get it. I get that though.
Yes. I mean, they are clearly giving David like a giant FU with all their money-making strategies. So I don't think he was intending to do this, but because of everything else, we have now landed here.
Dude, I get it. My parents would have murdered me if I had 1 ounce of Brody Jenner's attitude.
Seriously.
Like slapped upside my head. This kid, he's getting off easy by David saying your rent, like go make your own tuna fish sandwich.
Yeah, he didn't say you can't have access to the food. It's the services you can't have access to. He literally goes,
use the facility.
Yeah.
You just don't get my people using it.
Yes. Yep.
Amazing.
We also talk about how Brody really needs to clean up the lawn because the trash, like we saw this morning, is still there. And
then he does it.
Yeah, we cut to outside, and Brody and Spencer are in what seems to be a new hovercraft.
A hovercraft, right? I was literally like, am I too poor to even know what this would be?
Yeah, it's one of those hovercrafts, and they're like making giant circles or just doing a lot of movement to try and make wind movement to like push the trash together.
Okay, and they're trying to just sweep basically using a hovercraft.
Yes.
And Brandon is also here with what I assume is a land jet ski to try.
It's like a snowmobile.
Yes, he's here on
but grass. There's no snow in California, let's remember.
Nothing in Malibu. So he's here with his what do you call it, snowmobile, trying to also round up trash.
This is so dumb. I mean, this
could have been over in 15 minutes if you grab garbage bags and
it would have taken longer because like it was over a wide area. So yeah, that sucks. You're gonna have to walk it, but you are making it actually double the amount of time. This is never gonna work fully.
Yeah, I couldn't. I just can't. There was no thought process.
Brandon made more sense if somebody was in the back, like slowly picking it up or something, being like, I don't want to walk this.
You wouldn't even have to walk. Get Brody, grab your golf cart. Spencer, get on the side. Brody will slowly.
Yes.
The game's not can I get the trash? It's let's pick the trash up. Slowly pick up the trash. You don't even have to walk. Don't even get your steps.
Yeah, use your tools, but in a good way.
This was nothing. Spencer was not doing anything in the back of that hovercraft.
No. David's even more pissed too. He's like, this is what you're spending your money on, and you're not even doing
You're not even doing the one task I asked you to do.
But I love how they say we're organizing the trash before we pick it up. Like, that's some buzz. I feel like that's how millennials talk nowadays. I'm organizing my life before I work on it.
I can't. That might be me, but I can't.
I'm always just organizing before I actually do anything.
And then these losers try and get my guy Walter to pick up after them.
And again, they get denied
Absolutely
by
not.
David's employees. Sorry, David said no.
Mr. Foster said no. And Walter loves this. He loves to be a side character. This man loves
just standing and watching everything unfold.
Walter's a big background guy. Okay.
He's the winner in this household.
Constantly. I'm gonna eventually find out what happened to him. I have had no luck yet, but Walter, I'm coming for you.
Seriously. Well, Brody and Spencer get to actual work and start walking. They get out of the hovercraft. And Brandon like sleeps on the couch instead. Which
I don't think Brandon likes to be on this show.
No, I don't think he does either. Cool, I don't think he's the best child, but I don't think he wants to play with the shenanigans of this show.
I also don't think he's the worst child. I think Brody and Spencer are really the two devils in this situation.
Yes, the instigators of trouble.
Brandon's just an executive producer on the show, so like no biggie. Exactly. But also, listen, not to give like too much away, but Brandon has never really liked the limelight as far as I know about him. Yeah. Even in Keeping Up with Kardashian, he's always kind of like a background guy.
He's a group guy, not a solo moment.
Yeah. Yes. Whereas Brody and Spencer are solo guys, you know?
Exactly. And you know what? They're walking into Brody's room and it's a disaster. That's when they find out
what happened to your room, bro.
I was like,
what?
I was wondering if like all the light bulbs were like smashed again or something. No, there's just clothes on the floor. And here is when they learn that the maids are
do we know if they have light yet? I totally forgot about that.
I did not see anything to indicate yes or no. It was during the day too.
I know.
So, the light's coming through the windows. That's funny. They can take the free light.
All right. Let's talk about what these boys do.
Well, so basically they've got denied from a few different parties of the staff, so they realize that they need to get their own staff. So they grab David's suits and they're like, we are going to audition some women. Spencer calls a modeling agency.
This kid is so fucking crazy.
I immediately was like, how is this going to help? Where are you going to host these interviews? It's
also, he goes, hi, I'm David Foster.
Oh, from David Foster's office. Yeah.
Hey man, I'm from David Foster's office and we need like 20 models to be in a music video. Can you send them over right now? Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Thank you so much. What?
Weirdly, I actually feel like this is the most realistic thing in the show. In this episode.
I don't know what to think. Walter is the only dude that has no acting experience that I believe.
And is doing an incredible job.
Incredible.
So we go and audition, quote unquote,
at Warner Brothers.
Women.
At Warner Brothers.
Is it?
They walked in. They took David's nameplate and put it in the bowl of fruit. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know why, but I thought this was closer to his studio at his house, maybe?
Well, there's no fucking way Brody and Spencer are going to roll up and be like, hey, we know David let us the fuck in. Warner Brothers would be like, excuse you?
Nowadays, but I don't think things were as locked down as they are now. Especially if you're the stepson of David.
But you're maybe known for being a total.
I don't know. They're filming a show, so they cleared this.
That's
Come on.
That they. I know.
Either way,
trying to be realistic.
We're sitting in an interview, and we are getting very inappropriate or very weird questions being
horrible.
Asked.
First, they're flirting with these girls that they're interviewing. Second, they're sexualizing them horribly.
Yes. Third, they're making them do like massages.
Oh, so horrible. Spencer gets a full-blown massage in the middle of this.
Then Brody's like, do you want me to leave you alone? And Spencer goes, no, I don't want to do anything inappropriate. I was like, we are far past that, sir.
Also, just to know how big dumbasses these guys are, there's a bunch of a girl comes in and they say something like, oh, where are you from? And like, she's like, I'm from Hungary. And he goes, oh, I don't speak Hungaria. And I was like, oh my God, Spencer. Hungaria is not a language. Good try though.
I hate it.
You just added in a little N, Hungarian.
Seriously.
Also, Spencer took off his shoes. Disgusting. Who's hiring these girls? I can't
imagine what these girls thought, even if they were like prepped for this show.
Hey, you're gonna go in and talk to these two guys. They're just gonna like, interview you for a show. Okay, cool. Hey, you got big tits. I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we find out one girl gets the job for the quote unquote music video, and then they spring it on her that she will also be a chef.
Yeah, her name's Christina, and she's single, which I think was a big part of that interview process.
Yes, I mean,
and she can gorgeous. Cook. She can cook not just a box of macaroni and cheese.
Yes. Oh yeah, when they slowly started to unravel that there would be a chef role along with this fake music video, the boxed mac and cheese did not qualify as
no. She can do eggs Benedict. This girl, so rock out, Christina.
They found a winner.
And then there's these two Russian singers that show up.
And like matching outfits.
And do they think that Spencer is David? Because they kept being like,
yeah,
oh, Mr. Foster.
I think everyone thinks they're David because for the rest of the episode, if anybody that they hire is around, they call each other Mr. Foster.
That's actually really true. I just couldn't. Listen, I wouldn't know who David was if I did not watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But that being said, this man that takes off his shoes and wants a massage is David Foster, the amazing music producer.
They like both Spencer and Brody can't both be Mr. Foster, but they both call each other
I think
Mr.
it's Spencer.
Foster.
I think Spencer's the main Mr. Foster.
I think so too.
This man does not quit.
Yeah, but they interview these two Russian singers. They watch this weird video.
Horrible. Just sexualized the whole thing. David would never hire these two weird Russian singers.
No. They also get promised a music video, but they have to do a different job for just a minute, like really quick. And it's a surprise, but there's costumes.
Yeah, weird.
Which I knew that it was going towards maid, but I was like, this is so fucking creepy.
I knew immediately. Oh, horrible.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the hired staff, but we don't have the money to pay for them. So now we need the next scheme. Like scheme 1, check. Now let's figure out how to pay for it. So as they're walking out of, you're right, I guess they are at Warner Brothers Studio, because when they're walking out, there's this great conversation amongst a group about how they really need studio time.
It's this group of like 20 guys. Yes. 20, I would say, like they look like they're rappers. They look like they have the chains and the hats.
But there's so many of them.
They have urban vibes, but there's at least 27.
Yeah, so it's like, who's the musician? Because you guys can't all be the musician.
It's the entourage, baby.
But Brody and Spencer realize this is wonderful. We have a studio at home we can rent out. And by we, David has a studio that we are willing to rent out.
Spencer can rent out.
Exactly. So there's our income to pay for our staff. This is perfect. Check. Scheme 2 done. So we go home. It's dinner time at the Foster household, and Brody and Spencer sit down at the table. We have Linda, David, and David's mom eating what looks like a wonderful meal.
Like fish, I think.
Yeah, I think it's swordfish because Linda says she can't finish it all. The boys start eating some pistachios.
They can only afford pistachios.
Linda feels so guilty.
Yeah, fuck you, Linda. Come on.
Constantly undermining
They're
anything.
Fine.
She's like, I can't eat this whole piece of swordfish. Do you want some? And they're like, no, these pistachios are really great.
Ugh, Linda, you know what I think about this girl.
Yeah, I mean, insane. But don't worry, honestly, because here comes their chef.
Oh my God, Christina walks in and Linda was like, I'm sorry, who are you?
She's gorgeous, like, so they're very confused.
I'm the chef. And Linda's like,
who?
What?
What is happening? David's so confused. So Christina makes their dinner, which ends up being like pasta or something they easily could have made themselves, which
Oxtail
whatever.
mac and cheese.
No, it was not that. It was red sauce. But
how awkward,
like...
how awkward to walk into the situation and have to cook in front of these two creepy boys that sexualize you all day, plus their mom, their step grandma, and their stepfather. How horrible.
Who clearly don't know about this and are currently eating their own meal.
Yeah, horrible.
It's so bad. And apparently, like, David's like drooling over this girl.
I don't think he was drooling over the girl. I think that was a stupid joke. I think he was more shook that these boys did this.
Yeah, I think he's just literally looking from one point to the other, being like, what is happening here?
He's shook that these boys invite yet another blonde girl into his house.
God. But you know what? The boys get dinner and all is well for the evening. But we go to the next day and we are solving our next problem, which is the maids are here to supposedly clean their rooms.
Oh my God. And just the skimpiest little maid costumes you could wish.
Yes. They're like giggling to each other too. Even the chef, Christina, is like shocked about who these people are.
Do these two Russian singers still think they're about to do a music video for David Foster?
I don't know. Because what throws me off and making me think that these fake music videos are still being promised is that Spencer keeps getting called Mr. Foster if David isn't there.
These two girls were giggling, walking in, and they're like, oh my God, we're going to be in a music video. No, you're not. I don't know what music video you think you're going to be a part of in these little maid costumes, but try again.
Yeah, it's only if you're going to be cleaning up their rooms in the process will you get this music video. But Brody and Spencer get a call on the like sound system thing that they have visitors. And Spencer and Brody direct them to the studio because it's obviously our rappers or musicians.
Biker gang of rappers.
Insane. There's like 3 cars, like 8 bikes.
They've multiplied. There's now 50 of them that have appeared.
Holy shit! How is this not heard by David? Like all of these motorcycles.
I don't know.
But David's just back in the kitchen, like with all the chaos of employees that the boys have hired and so confused what is going on here. He's like, my 21 and 23-year-old stepsons are living on their own, but they're doing it in my house. Like, what the fuck is going on?
He really lays into Brandon here, who's just like trying. Brandon is like not a part of the shenanigans. He's just benefiting from the shenanigans. Yes. And David really lets into him about being a hippie and like a bunch of
he tries to roast him that he's like this hippie who cares about the environment again, but doesn't because he like drives some muscle car or like some car that clearly isn't good for the environment.
But I was like, what a random, you should go in for Spencer.
This one is very irrelevant to this like dig. It made sense with the light bulbs, but like when it comes to the chef, it has no relevancy.
No sense.
But the chef gets involved and is like,
oh, Christina, shut your mouth.
She's like, aren't they paying rent? What's the problem here? And David's like, David with his like one look is like basically shut the fuck up. Like, who are you? You're in my house.
Christina, you're getting paid by the money that somehow Spencer and Brody are gonna steal from David. So yeah. Calm your shit, girl.
Oh, good Lord. But David does tell Spencer he is evicted because David's mom's in town and needs the room. And
out of Spencer's room?
My room? My room? No, my room, says David. It's my house. What the hell? Yeah. But Brandon just wants David to come in once and just not have a problem. And I get this. Like, this is the downside of living with your parents sometimes is you're like, can you just not be on my case for one day?
Never.
But obviously we're living in an extreme. And David will never not be upset. But it's okay. David's like, I'm going to go to work. And by work, he's going to the home studio, which freaks Brody and Spencer out because they have now realized that they've double booked this studio. David's going to use it. But they already have their little biker gang rolling up to the studio as we speak. So they run over there quick. They let them into the studio.
Collect the money.
And run to the beach. I mean, this is the smart take. You got to get in, get out, and get lost.
which shout out to the boys, but all right. Then David finds them.
Yes.
Oh,
David then heads
this
to the
really,
studio.
I know this was probably fake, but my heart hurt for David
I
here.
agree, because this was acted pretty well. I have to say, this is one of the best scenes in my opinion.
David is so good at being mad. He is
Yes.
so good. He should look into an acting career. But
Seriously.
then you can tell these rapper dudes or security or whoever the fuck they are. One of them was cracking up the whole time.
Okay, so David goes to the studio, clearly finds the group, gets into a scuffle with these guys.
He can't get in.
No,
he's like,
they physically won't let him in.
physically-
They keep saying, I never fully catch the fake, because let's be honest, it's fake. The fake artist names
It's like
that are in there
Huevos or
working.
something.
Yes, Huevos. And I'm like, what the hell? David can't get in.
Huevos.
He literally gets physically pushed by one of these guys to leave.
Well, okay, David, this is where it also didn't age well because David calls them goons and then asks them, do you have kids? And one guy's like, yeah. And he goes, you probably have kids you don't even know about, which is not.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, yeah, it was bad. It was really, really bad. Which, like, also, it's just not great for a white man to be telling, like, a black man that. But
No,
also
this was
just
so awkward.
don't say that to anyone. And, like, don't call black men goons. I just feel like that's in bad
that just
taste.
makes me think of the Goonies. Like that, you know, that, like, weird mutilated character from the Goonies. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh my god, a goon. I haven't heard that word in
But then they tell David he's on drugs.
This was just
I was like,
weirdest
what?
environment. David's like, this is my house, and they're like, we paid for this. Like, this is private property. This isn't like a public studio where
there has
we
to
got
be
double booked here.
There has to be something where, like, this is obviously David's land that someone else rented out. Like, he should have just said, I'm gonna call the police. Like, that's, I know. But like, of course, or we like can't because
no. I don't know. This was just.
But then fucking Linda. Oh, I'm gonna kill her.
Shocking. Okay, so David leaves on his golf cart
in a huff.
Yes, and quickly Linda comes to talk to them about these, like, musicians and the posse, about what's going on. Immediately, they're like obsessed with her and want to start taking pictures with her, and she loses, per usual, any gumption she had to like fight for David.
Her whole edit is that she's just like some spacey dumb bitch. Like, yeah, they're like, oh, you look so pretty, and she's like, oh my god, thank you.
She's like, what are you doing? She comes in all mad, and then they're like, you're gorgeous, and she's like, oh my god, I know.
I forgot what I was even doing here. I hate it. Linda, you're better. Seriously. But also you're not, because you keep undermining your fucking husband in front of your children.
Well, at this moment, not in front of her children, because her children are nowhere to be found. They're
gone.
Beach.
They're gone.
Far, far away from David.
Except Brandon, who is in the house.
Oh my god. David's like, where are they? And he's like, I don't know. But David calls some random person to vent.
He's Southern guy.
He's like, I'm always in control.
I thought it was Caitlyn Jenner. I was like, oh my god, he's calling their dad to be like, your kid's fucking no, it's some Southern guy. And then, like, we skip to an 85th birthday party.
Oh my god, it's so weird. So basically, I'm guessing, in theory, we haven't seen Brody or Spencer all day. We're now at I think still at the house on the lawn. And it's Linda's dad's 85th birthday party. Brody and Spencer aren't here yet, but then they come. Brody says he doesn't want to come, but then they come.
Wait, Spencer then goes, are you afraid of a guy who plays the piano for a living? And I was like, he makes millions playing that piano, a producer, my guy.
Yeah, there's like more to it.
Spencer, calm your shit here, my guy.
I don't know, but my favorite moment is Spencer with 2 drinks in his hand. And David going, Spencer, come here now. And so he, like, sets down the drink.
But Linda in the background goes, thank you, Spencer.
Like, what is happening? So David finds, or like, talks to Brody and Spencer. And he says that he almost got killed.
Wait, whenever David yells at them, do you notice how Brody looks kind of pissed? And Spencer has, like, kind of a gleeful look on his face. Yes. He's always like, oh my god, he's yelling at me again.
Spencer's like, hello. And David's like, listen to what happened to me today.
almost got killed again. Microaggressions, David. We will work on them. It's 2022 now.
You did not almost get killed. Even if you got like pushed back to your little golf cart, like you were just fine.
Horrible. I mean, they did put hands, but
it was like a light, like it was like guiding him to leave. There was not like physical harshness behind it by any means. Yeah, but we're just basically like, listen, what the hell happened here? David says they can't possibly think that this was okay. And then he's like, you will not win this war. And I'm like, holy shit, we've declared war.
He says we can have a war, but there's no way you're gonna win.
Exactly.
And Brody looks so mad, which I'm like, guy, how can you justify
like this mad? Is definitely an overstep. We have now gone from the lawn, which listen, that can be fixed, to like his studio. We are increasing with aggregated or aggressive like attacks on David, I'll say. Yeah. This has definitely reached a new period where I'm fully even more on David's side.
I think if we were really, this is how people, I know we get messages like, are you guys 13-year-old girls? If we were really 13, we would side with Brody and Spencer, but we are fully adults. And if this was my house, I would have removed these two from my premise already. I would have been like, you're done.
I think the other two things were like funny, and like I didn't think David needed to like kick him out over that, but like the studio, if this was actually real, I feel like they would be kicked out.
Well, he also, you don't know who these men are. Now they like are in your home. They know where you live. Yeah. Like they're in your studio without you. Like, I'm not saying like these men are bad men or anything, but like, we don't know what's in that studio, right?
Exactly.
Spencer and Brody are stealing the Grammys. Like, you just don't know. He didn't have time to clean up. Like, it's rude. Don't have people over without letting everyone know there's company.
Well,
next time.
The boys are stealing the private plane.
Horrible.
They basically have like new staff at this hotel. Celine Dion is here looking for David.
Horrible Celine Dion. Why did you sign up for this?
Apparently we're gonna have an Elvis festival and Linda's gonna be there.
The disrespect I cannot handle. Okay, so I did my book report on Spencer Pratt.
Oh, honey.
Because I think he is a star in this show. I mean, he's funny.
He's on The Hills, and I hated him.
But we'll get there.
He provides the villain, but like I think he's carrying this show.
Yes, 100%. So Spencer was born in Los Angeles. His father was a jawsmith, which I looked up, and that's just a professional talker. A jawsmith.
There's my new title. This is how I can put this podcast on my LinkedIn.
Okay, you're a jawmaker. Or a jawsmith, sorry.
Don't call me a jawmaker.
Mother was a homemaker. He has a sister, Stephanie, and a half-sister, Kristen.
Oh.
He went to high school with Brody Jenner and Whitney Port from The Hills. They all went to high school together.
Yeah.
So he graduated from USC after 10 years. He took a big, long break from his degree, but he got 10 years. He has a political science degree.
Wow. Does he know how to wage some war on some reality TV shows?
And I think he just probably took one class every year of these 10 years, but a little rough for my guy.
Seriously.
Okay, so he started out on The Princess of Malibu, obviously. Then he was on The Hills. How he got on The Hills. So if you don't know what The Hills are, it's this show that was like a spinoff of Laguna Beach, and it follows Lauren Conrad, Heidi Montag, Audrina Patridge.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, and Whitney Port. And there were just 4 girls living in LA. And Spencer began dating Heidi. And that's how he like kind of became a season regular on The Hills.
And same with Brody.
Yes. But this is not about Brody.
I know, I'm
Meredith,
just saying.
Leave him out of this.
I'm just saying.
This is Spencer's time.
I'm just saying.
So Heidi, his girlfriend, was best friends with Lauren Conrad, who was like the main girl.
And roommates.
And then Lauren and Heidi had a big falling out after Lauren suspected that Spencer was responsible for rumors of a sex tape involving Lauren and her ex-boyfriend, Jason, which Spencer ultimately admitted to on The Hills. Like he apologized for it.
Yes.
There's like no idea. The Hills was incredibly fake and scripted, like this show, but like not as obvious.
Never.
But like I never knew, like Meredith said, Spencer was the villain on The Hills. Everyone hated him and he played it well. He even would get into fights with Heidi. That was like very bad.
Oh, yeah.
So Heidi and Spencer got married multiple times on The Hills, but season 5, I believe, was the season finale of, or no, actually, I think it was the middle of season 5, like the mid-season break. They got married. They ended up not finishing the series, which I didn't know. They appeared in like half of season 6, but never finished it.
Probably I watched season 6, by the way.
I did a long time ago.
I watched the very last episode.
I never rewatched The Hills, but I suspect it was that the rest of the cast really hated them, and how The Hills eventually was like formatted was everyone else, and then they would have to do like a separate few scenes for Heidi and Spencer. They were very much hated.
Even on like Lauren's last few, like last
it was
half
always
season,
separated.
Yeah.
They had their own storylines. So Spencer and Heidi afterward really struggled because they weren't getting this paycheck from The Hills, and because they were the villains, they didn't stay famous. Like no one really wanted to work with them, especially since Spencer seemed very difficult to work with and Heidi also seemed very high maintenance. I mean, she got plastic surgery on like 90% of her body,
and like her mom was like, I don't like you like this.
Yeah, it was horrible. So they basically spent all their money. Their fame was very short-lived. They then started kind of doing like a little bit of anything they could possibly get their hands on. So they were on this show called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
I watched that.
Was that the show where it was like they were trapped in a box or something?
They were like fake trapped in the jungle, I'll say. It was kind of like a Survivor, but like not.
Celebrities.
Yes.
I don't know.
So like fake Survivor.
I mean, they didn't last long because they had to quit when Heidi was hospitalized for a gastric ulcer. They were also on one episode of How I Met Your Mother. I do not remember them being on this, but they were themselves. Heidi tried to make a studio album and Spencer was gonna rap on the song and direct her music video. I don't know if it ever went anywhere. It was unclear. Also then, so Heidi then filed for divorce, which I was like, wait, what?
I remember this. Yeah.
But it was just a publicity stunt to get them back in the public eye.
God.
Then in 2010, Spencer was arrested and jailed in Costa Rica while attempting to board an aircraft with hunting weapons.
Good God.
So he was released and banned from re-entering the country. So they'll never go to Costa Rica again.
Oh, so there's one safe place on this earth?
Yes, from Spencer. So they went on Celebrity Big Brother UK as like a duo. They did not win. And then they went to marriage boot camp to talk about their differences on having children. And then they went back to Celebrity Big Brother in the UK and again did not win. But then Spidey, which is their celebrity name, Spencer and Heidi, they returned to The Hills New Beginning. And they started the plea to make Spidey famous again and got like this podcast no one listened to.
They have a child.
They have a child named Gunner.
She's pregnant again.
Is she? Oh, yep. God. Basically, their careers kind of crashed and burned and no one really wants to work with them. I watched a little of The Hills New Beginnings and I think Spencer is better. But and like it's kind of how I feel about him in this show.
I disagree,
like I don't hate him
because like him with Stephanie, they don't talk. Like Stephanie learned that they were having a baby from the press.
Yeah, no, he's not the best brother, but he seemed like less insufferable on The Hills New Beginnings. Like how he is
a better reality TV star.
Like a bad person, but like good to watch.
Gotcha.
He also owns a crystal company and is all about being zen.
Good God. It's just, you can tell his entire career has now been surrounded around reality TV.
Listen, the moment you have to ask the public to make you famous again is the moment you've lost.
Yes, because let's be honest, okay, I hate to like get ahead of myself with your little updates, but Brody was also back on the hills. And I think there's a lot of people, like Whitney went back to it too. So there's a lot of people who did go back, but aren't reliant on it. Like, obviously they're going to take the opportunity. Like, everybody wants to promote their shit and make that money, but it's not their only source.
Yeah, Spidey is very like, they want to be famous and that's it. I think Brody, he was born into fame. Whitney, for example, she has kind of her own thing going and she was always very great on the hill, so people actually want to do business with her. I think that's the thing. If you
she like got herself like a niche within the show of like, I'm the fashion girl.
Yeah, I think if you play this villain on reality TV, whether it's scripted or not, he did do and say a lot of horrible things.
Yes.
So like, no one wants to work
with like an audience and his co-stars. Like, and then didn't really have like a real passion outside of just being a dick.
Yeah, and like, if I'm a company, right, no one's gonna buy anything from Spencer and Heidi. Like, no. I would buy things from almost anyone else on the hills except them.
And anybody who does follow them, I would assume that like their engagement on any ads they do is probably low, because I think if you follow Spencer and Heidi for other reasons, good on you. But if I were to follow them, it'd just be to watch the slow motion car crash, not to be like, I am so excited about your crystals.
Yeah, they're trying to become relevant on like TikTok with people who never watched the show. And it's like, no one cared. Like, no one really cares. So Spencer's career didn't do great.
Yeah. But he became a lifer for reality TV.
Yeah, he just has nothing else. Like, at least Brody comes from money. Winnie has her own. Elsie has her own company. Audrina,
Kristen has her own company.
Kristen's a fucking star.
And here's the thing is, they were in the version of reality TV whereas right on the cusp of it really changing, where now people know before they go on TV, like, to either start setting up a business or have an interest of a business they want to do. Yeah. So like, how to monetize it a little better, but everybody else on these shows has monetized it even afterwards.
Yeah, but I think you're right. Spidey never had like a niche or like a niche or anything. Like,
even afterwards, they still haven't found. I mean, okay, the crystals, but like, what percentage of the population really actually actively buys a lot of that? I think they have like a t-shirt line too, which like says volumes.
It says Spidey though, and no one wants to be seen. No. Like, Lauren, I think, has a makeup line. Whitney has like a clothing line. Again, Brody was just born into money.
The little market. She literally started a whole company about women empowerment. No, that's not with Kohl's. Sorry. That's their own website. But she does have an LC line at Kohl's too.
Yeah, it's just like sad burn, but I had to do it because I was like, there's so much. I'm sad there was no dating history though, because it's all Heidi. So
yeah, basically.
So shout out to all the girls that wanted to date Spencer. Shout out to all the girls he probably cheated on Heidi with. What up? That was a big storyline in the hills. Again, it was probably scripted, but he seems like a big cheater.
You know what? Hills. And here's the moment to actually tie it into our Vanderpump podcast, because Stacy from the hills, who he like in theory flirted with,
the bartender.
Oh, the bartender. Was in Sheena's wedding,
and Sheena was on the hills because she was Stacy's friend. It's very weird. It's great. Very fun and weird. Okay, that's my book report. My next one's gonna be better though, so everyone stay put.
I love it. Well, don't forget to do all the things: rate, review, subscribe, add us on Instagram.
Instagram's the place to be.
Yeah, it is. Thanks for joining.
Bye.